Goes the family. Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you guys are having a great and exceptional day. We are live here from Las Vegas, Nevada. And I had one thing I will say. I had a blast last night watching Eddie Griffin. Eddie Griffin, you get nothing but love and respect from me. The fact that I got to see you live, I haven't seen you live since 2016, back when, rest in peace, when Charlie Murphy was alive. They did the comedy Get Down tour with all the other great comedians, and it was a great experience. And I tell you, it's like moments like that you never take for granted. One, you don't take for granted any moments you have in life, and two, you appreciate what you can do in this life, because you just never know when your last days will be here on this earth. All of our days, and I mean all of our days, are numbered. So don't ever take any moment for granted and things of that nature. But speaking of taking things for granted, today's topic, me, I got to get into the brass tactics and whatnot. And if you're watching, don't forget to do the great three free things: like, share, and subscribe. It's always greatly appreciated. Put the hashtag live in here. All right. Anyways, all right. Let's make sure we got that going. Okay. But anyways, we're talking about education here. Now, I'm not saying anything bad about education. I'm not anti-education or anything of that nature. So let's get that square. And let's get, because I know that's what a lot of people out there will probably say. Oh, he's anti-education. I'm not anti-education. I am becoming anti-unnecessary education and whatnot, because the way that the world moves right now doesn't necessarily meet up with the speed and the expectations of today's educational system. And anything in life needs improvement. Anything in life has to evolve. We as people have to evolve. All over the world, you have to evolve, because you can look at certain parts of the world that had not evolved in any specific way, and that lack of evolution has been their detriment. But in certain aspects of the world, people that have evolved, and in the wrong way, that's actually led to their detriment. So there's all about balance and stabilization when it comes to evolving in so many different ways. Because I love the quote. One of my favorite quotes from Tupac was, either you evolve or you disappear. It's just what it is. It's literally, that's how it goes down. All right. But anyways, let me get back to the discussion at hand. I'm going to read the Department of Education in the United States of America's actual overview and mission statement, and then give my perspective on it and go from there. Department of Education's mission is to promote student achievement and preparation for global competitiveness by fostering educational excellence and assuring equal access. Department of Education was created in 1980 by combining offices from several federal agencies, 44,400 employees, and $68 billion budgets are dedicated to, and I quote, establishing policies on federal financial aid for education and distributing, as well as monitoring those funds, collecting data on America's schools and disseminating research, focusing national attention on key educational issues, prohibiting discrimination, and ensuring equal access to education. Now, I'm reading this statement for one reason and one specific reason only. The Department of Education in the United States of America is actually job well done, because this is what they're supposed to do. They have the marching orders, they're implementing it. So job well done. There's nothing wrong with that. However, the one thing I did not read in this mission statement was trying to help people become actual, what's the best way to put it, more competitive from an economic perspective, and not just competitive from a getting a good job perspective, because that's why a lot of people in certain instances deem standardized education to be inefficient in certain specific matters, because they deem with today's job market to be inefficient, not really coexist with majority of the educational systems that are out there. Um, it's like the state of Virginia that I'm from the state of Virginia. And I'm going to actually look up the department, because every state varies. They get funding from the Department of Education, regardless of the red versus blue crap. Every state gets money from the federal government. So that's why I don't get into that nonsense. Everything's a business. Um, and and everybody has their marching orders, and they have to coexist with certain federal standards if they want to get funding. And no state likes to turn down money and whatnot, because it's all about doing business and things of that nature. Is there anything wrong with that? Absolutely not. It's the American way. I can't put it any other way. It is literally the American way. All right. Now, going to read the actual mission statement for the, because I'm just, like I said, I'm going to talk about my state of Virginia. I'm not going to talk about other states because I'm familiar with, and I went through the state of Virginia's educational system, so I can speak to it as a person who went through it. All right. The vision of the Virginia's Department of Education is that Virginia will maximize the potential of all its learners. That's the vision. The mission of the Virginia Department of Education is to advance equitable and innovative learning. Now, I like that sound, innovative learning. Is it actually implemented? That is a good question. But I do love the sound of innovative learning because we live in an innovative society. You know, that coexists with where we're at right now. Only problem is a lot of times when it comes to innovative learning, it's usually still focused on the standardized testing. I can admit I was not the best student on the planet because the way that I learn is completely different than the way that quote unquote the standardized testing is. That's why not only do I read a lot, but I binge on podcasts and whatnot because I learn from not only reading and doing things, but I learn by listening to intelligent people. I learn by listening to constant information. It's like information, whether you get it from media or if you get it via a book and whatnot, it's consumed in various different ways from various different people because everybody's learning styles are different. That's another reason why a lot of people believe the standardized testing is just kind of obsolete because the way everybody learns something is completely different. I think most reasonable people can agree on that. Everyone's learning, and I know that with the Department of Education and all these schools, I'm not downing any principals, superintendents, or teachers and whatnot, because we can all do better when it comes to everything in life. But everybody's learning style is different, and everybody's interest is different too. And a lot of times, when you make everything standardized to a textbook and whatnot, a textbook's not teaching somebody how a lot of this information outside of reading, writing, basic math and whatnot, and basic aspects of science and things of that nature. Outside of that, how it's really going to apply to one's everyday life and how they can compete in the actual global economy, because we've been a global economy for over 30 years now. Heck, like I said, over 30 years now. All right. Now, getting into this, going into standardized testing, because that they test the heck out of kids constantly testing children. Like I couldn't even remember how many tests I took. It was ridiculous. And this article I found today in regards to standardized testing, stating is it obsolete or efficient, went into everyone's a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it's stupid. Albert Einstein. Great quote. Great quote from Albert Einstein. Everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing that it is stupid. And that's why I said the way people learn, everyone's different, but in today's society, for a long time now, with the standardized testing society and the school systems, it believes if you can't meet these specific standards, then you're quote unquote considered inefficient or an idiot or whatnot. And I just think that's interesting at the same time. But the article really went into the ordeal of the experience and effects many students are dealing with today when it comes to standardized testing. And this is what the article really said. Went into this: the method of standardized education has become irrelevant daily, and is more than evident that a student has felt like a fish probably once or more times in their life. We are still practicing the ways of the dark ages, whereby the results of standardized tests determine one's capability of knowledge. Is there something really to learn at the end of the day? Or has the student studied just enough to memorize information for a test and pray that for their dear life that they pass it and never have to encounter this sort of thing in life again? I'm going to go with the lateral. Yes. Most people that take tests, because I was one of those students, was like, yeah, I just wanted to memorize enough information to ensure that I never have to take a test, because the majority of the information that I was consuming to remember, I thought was irrelevant to my daily life. And that's why a lot of these private schools that have popped up, especially online and when I have become way more and more popular, especially with young adults and things of that nature. And one thing, the pandemic, even with children, they had to get used to being in front of a computer and, learning online and whatnot. Now, some instances it worked, some instances it didn't, because you had a lot of parents that had to go to work, a lot of kids that got away with not really doing anything. But you have to not only make it interesting or whatnot, but everything needs to not only fall in the measures of a test. But I know that certain counties and states have to meet certain guidelines. They have to report a lot of data to the Department of Education. So I get that. I truly do. But however, a lot of the information that's being consumed on a regular basis, it's just not preparing people to be data scientists. It's not preparing people to become entrepreneurs. It's not preparing people to even figure out, especially with the way they talk about money in the school system. I remember it was like a year or two ago, I did a video about that. And the way that they talked about money with us in school, I remember in high school, I had great teachers. But I will say that they just taught us how, this is back in the late 90s, they taught us how to write a check. They taught us how to open up a bank account. The process is the 1, 2, 3, 4 steps of opening a bank account. They taught us how to get ready for a job interview and things of that nature. Basic stuff, but there was never discussions about stocks, bonds, cryptocurrency didn't exist during that time frame. There was no discussion about how to even run a business because none of the teachers even knew how to run a business because they've been working in the school system, which is nothing wrong with that. But there was nothing to prepare for where we are in today's world of 2021. And even when I talk to younger kids now, because I have younger people in my family, they tell me that this is not the kind of conversations that are happening on a regular basis. And a lot of times this is why, especially in the age of Bitcoin and whatnot, the digital currency, the digital age and whatnot, a lot of things not being discussed even to prepare people for today and tomorrow's job market, let alone today and tomorrow's business market. You know what I mean? And that's why in certain instances, standardized testing can be considered to be obsolete. But, I get that there's specific guidelines but unfortunately, a lot of standardized even education is considered to be still in the dark ages because, just, and that's why so many important online schools are important, because just the aspects of learning how money is supposed to make money for you so that when you possibly get out of high school, you have a significant amount of savings and investments, whatnot. I mean, the fact of financial literacy, in my personal opinion, I don't expect that teachers, this is my perspective. Whether it's wrong or not, let me know in the comment section. I don't think it's a teacher's job to teach children financial literacy. However, I think with the amount of money that these school districts actually get from the federal government, which is passed down to the state government, which is passed down to the local governments, especially in the highest tax states and whatnot. I'll throw the whole West Coast and Northeast coast of America, the DMV area, and all that good stuff. These are districts in the United States, even in Texas. States where, in Florida, states where a lot of money is being made, states that have been gentrified and are on the way to being gentrified, like Texas and Florida. So if you live in Texas and Florida and you got a basic money mindset, it's time to change before you get gentrified out of your community. I'm just gonna keep it like that and go from there. Don't take, it's not financial advice. It's just what's happening and what's going to happen, regardless of who's in office. Anyways, so my perspective is, well, these, especially because I know that there's school districts where they don't have a higher tax base of people, because even red state, blue state, people pay taxes one way or the other. Some taxes are just more excessive than others. However, schools need money via tax dollars. So anyways, maybe these school systems, school districts and whatnot could have financial consultants, hire a financial consultant, because school districts contract work out on a regular basis anyway, from cafeteria to security and maintenance and things of that nature. But anyways, have a financial consultant come 1 or 2 times throughout the school year and ensure that it's an actual financial consultant that actually can relate to the children in a sense, to making financial literacy fun. Just like you see all these people online that are doing these great things, like at EYL University, like a Jason Black, like a Tariq Nasheed, like a Dinah Samir, like I consider myself to try to be, I'm not up there, but I'd like to put myself in that ballpark, like at EYL University, like a Dr. Boyce Watkins, like a Jay Morrison, the list goes on and on. But anyways, have them come into an auditorium, or just even put something online and make it mandatory for the kids to actually just go through the videos and whatnot and listen to how they can make financial literacy fun, and why this information is, especially I'd say from like the last year of middle school or junior high, depending on what state you're in, to high school. Definitely every year, especially during that time frame. Talk about the importance of, if you do not take money seriously from these aspects, from insurance aspects, stocks, bonds, real estate, owning a business and things of that nature, how having a job only could put you in a detrimental position. But what do I know? And that's probably will go against certain institutions and what they're trying to do. It's because it's like the information that they put out, I say is great. However, add some more layers onto that, you know, add some more layers onto that actual curriculum to say, hey, go through this specific curriculum. Hey, even maybe even in the sense that they make it into a curriculum to the point where if it's not just them, digesting information, but maybe even give them a shot at getting college credits and things of that nature. I know certain actual school districts are doing that around the country, and I think it's smart and it's great because in today's world, if you're leaving high school and your only conscience is the only way I'm going to make it in this world is if I get a college education so I can get a good job, you're hustling backwards. I've said it 1,000 times and I will say it to the day I die. I'm not ashamed to say that. I have nothing wrong with standardized education, but there's everything wrong with only having that as a mindset. You cannot be successful. Okay. That, it's like great example. A lot of musical artists nowadays and celebrities and things of that nature, they're very, very productive and profitable because they have an entrepreneur's mindset, because they constantly learn, they get around the right people so that they can digest the great information, and they get the best financial advice and best financial advisors as possible and whatnot. And they continuously learn the business so that they cannot, even whether it's through trial and error, so that they cannot get screwed over. That's why you hear less about artists getting screwed over now compared than you did 30 years ago, because you didn't have the mentorship back then, didn't have the amount of information that's out back then like you do nowadays. And everybody knows that being an actor, actress, comedian, songwriter, rapper, singer, whatever have you, they know they're going into a business. It's not just all hunky dory. And as in the movie Rising Sun, old school 90s movie, Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery, stated, business is war. It was a Japanese saying, business is war. And I think everything is war when it comes to money, but you're definitely always going to be on the losing side of the war if you only come at it from, I'm going to get my 40 hours and that's it. That's the losing battle right there. Okay, I'm going to have my career and that's it. That's a losing battle right there. I can't put it any other way. Okay, can't put it any other way. Now, the article stated the current education movement is laden with if-then rewards and a carrots and sticks approach to motivation. If students score well on standardized tests, they move on to the next grade level or graduate while their teachers receive favorable marks on evaluations. These are forms of extrinsic motivation and will work in the short term, but performance will not be sustainable as it will be with those motivated intrinsically. And the actual individual within the article argues that students are not motivated by standardized tests. Amen to that, as they find no true meaning and value in them. A focus on standardization narrows the curriculum and creates a teaching culture where creativity, exploration, and critical thinking are scarce or non-existent. Critical exploration, creativity, and critical thinking are scarce or non-existent. One thing I'll bring up an artist back in the day, Tupac and Jada Pinkett. She's still alive. They were best of friends when they both lived in Baltimore. They met each other at an arts institute in Baltimore. And they had the pleasure of going to an art school where creativity could be expressed and given. And when Omar Epps, actor, Marlon Wayans, actor slash comedian, they all went to these art institutions when they were in high school and whatnot. Some went when they were in college and things of that nature. They went to a place where their creativity could be explored and brought out to fruition and things of that nature. And that's one thing I wish I would have had when I was actually in high school. Being the closest thing we had was just being in a choir and whatnot, because I was really into music back then. But it would have been nice to have gone to like some sort of arts musical creativity institute and things of that nature, where you could explore from a singing, rapping, acting perspective, the whole nine. Who knows where my life would have turned out. But anyways, having a place to be yourself, having a place to be able to express yourself. That's why places that Las Vegas, or Los Angeles, Miami, and Atlanta, Houston, New York, Seattle, places where even San Francisco, places where art and creativity, and now places like Austin, Texas, and whatnot, art and creativity and whatnot it excites people. It brings people to those places. Nashville, Tennessee. Like I said, there's so many places around the United States where a lot of arts and creativity is brought to fruition. Then you have the tech scene. Then you have the science scene. Then you have the business scene. So all these places where the outside of the box people make things happen. Because I'll tell you one thing, love it or hate it, Las Vegas, which you see behind me and whatnot, this wasn't created by average minds. These were created by brilliant minds. And most of these minds did not have a standardized education and way of thinking. They had to think outside of the box because there's no other city on the planet for the most, well, I guess you could say in the UAE and Dubai and whatnot, but this kind of creativity, even people that created Dubai and whatnot, it took a lot of creativity outside of the standardized textbook learning. I'm just saying. Okay, I really am just gonna have to put it out, out there. And before I end this off, I will go over, because I didn't think I was gonna go this long, but hey, I'm passionate about this. 15 reasons why standardized tests are considered worthless. And this was actually written back in February 28th, 2013. So I know that this argument is nothing new. I've just always had my perspective on it, and that's why I said let me just bring it into fruition and go from there. I know I'm in Vegas, but I'm actually drinking water because it is 110 degrees outside. But anyways, I digress. Number one, why standardized testing is considered to be worthless. Article stated because students know that test scores may affect their future lives, they do whatever they can to pass them, including cheating and taking performance drugs, ergo like Ritalin, or they'll take something like that, borrow from friends. Number two, because teachers know that test scores may affect their salaries and job security, they also cheat. And for some interesting statistics on that, you check out Freakonomics and whatnot. And that's another thing to take into consideration, because and that's why there's always been a teacher shortage, because a lot of times people are actually scared out of becoming a teacher. They don't want to deal with it anymore because of the stress of the children, the school districts, fear of losing their job and things of that nature, not having any support. Number three, standardized tests don't provide any feedback on how to perform better. The results aren't even given back to the teachers and students until months later, and there are no instructions provided by test companies on how to improve these test scores. Couldn't agree with that. Number four, standardized tests don't value creativity. We talked about that earlier. A student who writes a more creative answer in the margins of such a test doesn't realize that a human being won't even see this creative response. That machine grades these tests, and a creativity response that doesn't follow the format is considered a wrong response. That's something to take into consideration, because the world everything isn't in black and white. Number five, standardized tests don't value diversity. There are a wide range of differences in the people who take standardized tests. They have different cultural backgrounds, different levels of proficiency in the English language, different learning and thinking styles, different family backgrounds, different past experiences, and yet the standardized tests treat them as if they were all identical to the group that took the test several years ago and to which the test has been normed. Ergo, this original group is the norm group against which any future test takers to be compared. Number six, and that's why I said everybody's learning style is different. People come from all different backgrounds of life. Everybody's learning style is different and whatnot. And that you wouldn't have a Microsoft Word and an Apple and whatnot if everybody just wanted to stay within the lines of comfort and whatnot. Number six, standardized tests favor those who have socioeconomic advantages. Test companies, a multi-billion-dollar year industry, not only manufactures the test, they also manufacture courses and programs that can be taken to prepare for the test. If you have the money, you can even get special tutors that will help you do well on a test. If you don't have the money and your school is a low socioeconomic area that gets less funding than rich suburban schools, then you are not getting the same preparation for the test as those at the higher socioeconomic levels. And this is why today with social media, because this is back when social media was big, but it's not as big as it is today. This was back in 2013. But this is why so many podcasts and different online schools have been popping up, because they're actually testing people's creative ability and whatnot in order to not only learn from an educational standpoint, but from an economic standpoint, especially given the fact you have so many generations that come from lower socioeconomical backgrounds that they're tired of the norm. They know that a 40-hour job is not going to do it, even if they get a master's degree or they get a doctorate or whatnot, because to quote Dr. Claude Anderson, a lot of people have master's degrees, yet they've mastered nothing. everybody now is in the mindset of I want to master how I can make money for me while I sleep. Ergo, in a sense, what people call the mailbox money. Okay, that because people have seen so many generations make money, even coming from the same community and whatnot, but doing way better. And it's like, how is it possible? How are you doing this? And I've gone through school and I got all these degrees, and it's like you have a conversation if you're even blessed to have a conversation with somebody that makes mailbox money, as I call it, make money while they sleep and whatnot. You're going to find that their total 180 mindset of perspective compared to and how they approach things in life compared to the people that just go to school and get the degree and think that just have climbing the corporate ladder is the way to go. These people, they laugh at that, and they don't, I'm not gonna say they turn their nose up at it, but in a sense they do. And they're like, hey, there's so many different ways that my family and their generation and this generation has been doing it, and it's the beautiful economic American way. It's the beautiful capitalistic way. However, we listened to what they said in school, but we really didn't pay attention to it, especially given the fact, and I always love this quote by Damon Dash. They can't really they can't really bow down to somebody who's trying to teach them something when they don't make as much money as their parents do. And they know when they get out of high school or college and whatnot, they're going to be making 10 times more money than that teacher or professor. I'm not talking bad about teachers and professors and whatnot, but we live in a day and age where people are making money online, but people are making money in their sleep. People are making money from other countries. We live in a day where it's not just a regular bow down to the 40-hour week, That's why you got, a gentleman like Tim Ferriss who's like all about, hey, 4-hour work week. But anyways, number 8, standardized tests occur in an artificial learning environment. There are times you can't talk to a fellow student. You can't ask questions. True. You can't use references or learning devices. You can't get up and move around. How often does the real world look like this? Agreed. Prisons come to mind. And yet even the most hard-headed conservative will say that education must prepare students for the real world. Clearly, standardized testing doesn't do this. And that's why I said it clearly. Conservatives even say it's too. It's not a liberal or conservative thing. It's not a Democrat or Republican thing, because both states have people that come out great from the educational system and come out bad from the educational system. It's all in how you look at it, one. And then two, when the mindset is changed to the parents and the mindsets will change to the children, therefore the mindsets will change to their children's children and go forward. That's the thing. It goes much deeper than just standardized testing. This isn't picking on a government thing. This is just saying, hey, this is what it is. Number 9, standardized tests create stress. Agreed. Some kids do well with a certain level of stress. Other students fold. True. So again, there isn't a level playing field. Brian research suggests that too much stress is psychologically and physically harmful. And when stress becomes overwhelming to the brain shifts into a fight or flight response, where it is impossible to engage in a higher order thinking processes that are necessarily to respond correctly to the standardized test question. And even in certain instances, because the thing is, if a certain school district doesn't meet the standardized test method, then the state will end up taking over that school district, which basically vetoes any power that the city or the county had and whatnot, until the standardized testing gets up to par and whatnot. And that's a sad thing to me, because a lot of generations miss out on being the greatest people that they can be, because they're centering their intelligence based off of a freaking test, when intelligence is way bigger than that. Being strategic and playing chess is way bigger than just passing a standardized test. Just keeping it real in that aspect. Number 10, standardized tests reduce the richness of human experience. Agreed. And human learning to a number or set of numbers. This is dehumanizing. A student may have a deep knowledge of a particular subject but receive no acknowledgement for it because he or she, his or her tests maybe have been low. If the student were able to draw a picture, lead a group discussion, or create a hands-on approach, he/she could show that knowledge, but not in the standardized testing room. And that's the beautiful thing about social media, especially everybody having their own channels, podcasts, things of that nature. They're able to express their intelligence in various different formats and whatnot. And I think that's one of the best things about being alive in today's world. I know and I know that's too positive and whatnot. But anyways, number 11, standardized tests weren't developed by geniuses. Imagine that. They were developed by mediocre minds. One of the pioneers of standardized testing in this country, Louis Terman, was a person who was the article says he was a racist, but okay, the mismeasure of a man. Because he was actually the author of the book, The Mismeasure of a Man. which is actually by Stephen J. Gould. And another pioneer, Edward Thorndike, was a specialist in rats and mazes. Just the kind of mind you want your kid to have, right? Albert Einstein never created a standardized test, although he failed a number of them. Imagine that. And neither did any other great thinkers of our age or any age in time. Standardized tests are usually developed by uh, pedantic researchers with PhDs in educational testing or educational psychology. If that's the kind of mind you want your child or student to have, then go for it. The article states this article really went deep into it, and I agree with every single aspect of it because like I said, I don't measure the intelligence of a degree, a standardized test. I measure the amount of intelligence in regards to a conversation one has, in regards to the actions one implements, and you go from there. Number 12, standardized tests provide parents and teachers with a false sense of security. Agreed. If a student scores well on a test, then it assumes that they know the material. However, this may not be true at all. The student may have simply memorized the fact or formula or trick necessarily to do well on the test. Some students are naturally gifted in taking standardized tests, others are not. A group of Harvard graduates were asked, why is it colder in the winter and warmer in the summer? Most of them got the question wrong. They were good test takers, but didn't understand the fundamental principles that require deeper comprehension. And that's interesting, because like I said, I've met a lot of Ivy Leaguers that can't hold a simple conversation and can't even understand the principles of even how economics work or even how business works at the same time. All right, last 15. Okay, getting down to the nitty gritty. Wow. All right, so number 12, standardized tests provides parents and teachers with I already read that one. 13, standardized tests exist for administrative, political, and financial purposes, not for educational ones. I agree with that. Test companies make billions of dollars. Politicians get elected by promising better test results. Administrators get funding and avoid harsh penalties by boosting test scores. Everyone benefits except certain children. For them, standardized testing is worthless or worse. And I agree with that statement. At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, the beautiful thing about America, and there's no false premise about it, it's one of the greatest countries in the world because it's true to its name and it's true to saying one thing. It's a capitalist country. Everything's about a dollar. The internet I'm using is about money. The equipment that I have is about money. The hotel I'm staying at is about money. The flight I took, everything revolves around the dollar, whether you love it or hate it. Do not be fooled by any other nonsense outside of what I just said. I don't care if you're a red state, blue state, purple state, quadruple state. It does not matter. Everything revolves around the dollar, because if it didn't, then you would never have any bills to pay. I'm just saying, economy needs money to work, and education is not absent of that. That's why there's a student loan crisis, and that's why the can keeps getting kicked down the road when it comes to the student loan bubble. That's going to happen eventually. Number 15. I'm sorry. Number 14, standardized testing creates winners and losers. The losers are those who get labeled as my low students, my learning disabled disabled kids, my reluctant learners. Even the winners are trapped by being caught up on a treadmill of achievement that they must stay on at all costs through at least 16 years of schooling and more often 20 years. The losers suffer loss of self-esteem and the damage of low expectations, which research shows actually negativity influences performance. And I couldn't agree with that statement more. And if you're in the system, but I agree with that statement. However, I will put on a caveat. It lets them, like, the one thing about standardized tests in sports and what the economy lets you know is, yes, there's always going to be winners and losers and things of that nature. But the thing that needs to be put in, okay, you might not be good at taking standardized tests, but you might be good at creating music. You might be good at actually working with your hands, building buildings, plumbing, electricity, things of that nature. You don't have to be the best of the best when it comes to standardized testing. You can be good at something else. So that's why I always actually give credit to the school systems that actually have good skilled trade programs, good tech programs and whatnot, so people can be tested outside of the box of just standardized testing and things of that nature, because the world is a bigger place than standardized testing. Number 15, finally, the last one. The most important reason that standardized testing is considered worthless, the article stated, during the time that a child is taking a test, he or she could be doing something far more valuable, actually learning something new and interesting. I couldn't agree with that statement more. That's why I commend the parents that take, when it comes to their today's active role in education, they're going way far and beyond the whole standardized testing, and for them to be the best of the best in class and whatnot. They know that that the system's working exactly how it's supposed to. That's the crux of me making this video at the end of the day. The school system's working exactly how it's supposed to be. But what are you, the one thing I always give immigrants credit, what are you doing at home to teach your child and whatnot about money, how it really works, how economics really work? And if you don't know, and especially in 2021 going into 2022, there's so many different measures for you to learn so that you can teach them. And you, because when they see, they do what you do. So if they see you doing great, they're going to do great, et cetera, and so forth and whatnot. That's all I can say. Okay. That's all I can say on that one. So that is that. So I'm going to end this video off with, because, I got to get into, so I'm going to start with the pillars of wealth. Just the simple 4 pillars of wealth, because this is not talked about enough in the school system. This needs to be talked about in the school system at least twice a year, and it definitely needs to be talked in everyone's home every day. If not every day, at least every week and whatnot. The pillars of wealth. And stop feeding the kids. It starts with getting a college degree. The pillars of wealth creation. Okay. I'm going to go to the 4 aspects of it. All right. 4 aspects of it. Period. Let's get into it. First, this is obvious. Making money. Okay. You got to make money, obviously. Article states when a person can create and deliver value, normally they can make money and increase their income over time. But it doesn't just stop there when you make money. Then number 2, it says have a great career. Okay, great. Have a great career. All right. Build a fabulous business. This is the most important thing. Build a fabulous business. Make your career an option so you're not stuck in the rut and whatnot, or stuck at a job that you're miserable at, stuck in a community you're miserable living in or whatnot. Okay. That's another thing that people don't take into consideration when it comes to the pillars of wealth. That's just one aspect of it. But number 2 really is accumulating assets. This isn't talked about enough. This was never talked about in my grade schools. All right. Assets, real estate, could be primary real estate, rental properties, intellectual property. Obviously, when you've built something and it's something that actually just generates money and things of that nature, because it's such a great, like music, books, paintings, articles, papers, ideas, inventions, things of that nature. You have to really think about that. Savings and investments. Okay. Savings accounts, certificates of deposits, bonds, preferred stocks, common stocks, mutual funds, exchange trade funds, precious metals, cryptocurrency, so many different things. Not giving out financial advice. Go to a financial professional. I'm just saying this is not talked about enough in the school system. 3rd pillar of wealth, debt. People don't really want to talk about it, but debt can be a pillar of wealth if utilized. Great. I'm not talking about student loan debt. I'm talking about debt that's coming from a business that you have, or debt coming from an asset that you have, and debt that you can borrow money from. Even debt having an insurance policy and whatnot, you can borrow money from that. It's not just about what you earn, but it's about what you can save, what you can invest, and what you can borrow. That's the thing that nobody talks about enough. How much money can you borrow so that you can buy and purchase more assets? How much money can you save, and how much money can you invest? Because so many people, especially when I was growing up, was just focused on making more money. But there was never really conversation in regards to how I can save more money or how I can invest more money. That's what it really boils down to. And the last but not least, 4th pillar of wealth, self-development. All right. And I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Try to get healthier every day as much as possible. Get more educated every day as much as possible. Build relationships, because one of the biggest pillars of wealth is having the right relationships with the right people. That's why I've learned to not waste my time with a lot of people, because if you're not about growing and being a better person, and all you're doing is you want to be part of the gossip class and the drama class, I don't have any room for you. I'm not going to say much. I don't have any room for you in my life, and I think any reasonable adult would feel the same way. So I'll leave it at that. All right. And before I end this off, let's go over the actual, this is according to LinkedIn, actual jobs that are in demand right now within the United States in 2021. Financial advisors, retail sales specialists, customer assistants, product designers, solutions engineers, automation test analysts, technical project managers, sales directors, things of that nature. And definitely people who are technical in all ways, some information technology, all your blue collar jobs, some CDL drivers to plumbers, to electricians, to carpenters and whatnot, all your skilled trades people, especially your car mechanics, your truck mechanics, your people that are considered teller mechanics and whatnot. Since you have all these self-checkout machines, people at all these stores and whatnot, those people make a great living and whatnot. So that's just another thing to take into consideration, right? This is actually as of May 2021. So I just wanted to talk about those, software engineers, registered nurses, animal groomers, JavaScript developers, project managers, DevOps engineers. These are things to look into, family. These are, and I bring these things up because I want everyone to be successful, whether you're going to be in business, whether you're going to be in a career. I want us all to be successful, and I want us to think about money in a different way. I want us to start thinking about family in a different way, from not everyone competing with each other, but everyone actually making money moves together, so everybody within the family can come up. Because the whole competing, I think I'm better than you nonsense, that's dead in 2021, in my personal opinion. All right. But on that note, family, I'm glad you guys enjoyed this. Please do the great 3 things: like, share, and subscribe. Have a great day. Unfortunately, I will be leaving Vegas in 2 days, so this time, got to get back to what it is. So hopefully, you guys had a great day, man. Looking forward to going out to Fremont Street tonight and enjoying my life. All right. And I implore you all to get out here and enjoy your life, especially before they may close things down again. All right. You got one life to live. So you better enjoy, family. That's all I got to say. All right. Take care.